Good morning, everyone. This is Biz Chicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today we're here with Coach Karen Fern, all the way from Toronto, Canada, bringing you wonderful information about how to succeed in your personal and your business financial life. Now, I'm Tara Lena from California Cover Ups, and I want to give a shout out to my partner, Miss Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. She is out streaming for individuals, and so we just want to wish her well on site today. In addition to that, we want you to make sure that you have all the tools you need so you can capture this information. People pay quite a bit to coach with Coach Karen. And so, the fact that she has been gracious enough to give us her time here on the channel, we're excited. So, Coach, what do you have for us today?
Oh, could you imagine? It's another year, September, and we're finishing it up. We're just, girl,
who knew?
Right?
I'm really excited. And you know what? I'm excited about the coming year. And was it you who said to treat September like January?
I didn't say it, but boy, they're not relying.
It's like a reset.
Mm-hmm. So because it's the last quarter. It's the last quarter. And if you're preparing, if you really want 2021 to be great, you can't slack off on 20. You can't complain on 20. I don't know if you remember, but in January, I came on Biz Chicks and I said, set a yearly budget. And if you didn't do it, this is the year to really pay attention to all those things that I've been talking about all year long. And keep your receipts, write things down, get things set up so that you could literally plan in November. You don't need to wait for December. In November, plan, start getting things. If everything is not ready, just get things together and start planning that yearly budget for 2021. Understand your numbers, because we'll talk a little bit about numbers today. Understand that numbers. The true number, don't lie about it. Let it be what it is, because it gives you an open up question so that you can do better. So look after that number. Make sure that number is where it needs to be. And if it isn't, set up an action plan to get there. And the only way you get there is by discovering yourself, understanding who you are, so you can work in the best you there is. That's the only way that you succeed. You see people do great things. You want to be those people if you admiring them, not in a bad way, but you have to understand they have to go find themselves. There's nothing you can copy, do, or get if you don't find you. You can use everybody's strategy and you still is not going to get there because you're not looking after the core, the grounding. And all this month, I talk about self-care. We talk about grounding towards financial freedom. We talk about, work that excites you. We talk about planning toward bigger income. And today, where our topic is feeling free to make bold financial choices. Because since we look after all those stuff, now we can feel, now we can do that stuff because we looked after those other things.
Wow. Wow.
And this is what I love when I come to do this masterclass on the Biz Chicks. I set up the months so that you can see the progression if you're paying attention, and you can pull the pieces together at the end of most months. Very rarely I do here and there. I usually plan out the whole month. I sit down, I get it ready. I know I'm going to teach. I know what's going to happen. I know what it could look like if you put in the time and believe and do the work. So here we are, making bold moves.
Al is here today. We just want to say good morning.
Who?
Al is here today. He's saying good morning to you, Coach.
Good morning, Al. Good morning. Yeah.
I love this, making bold financial choices, because I'm in the middle of making some choices. This is going to be good. I'm excited. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to hear this. Okay, here we go. Because sometimes, when you're making financial decisions that are bold and you're making them what seems like alone, although we're never alone, it can be kind of scary.
Yeah. I remember the first time I was listening to something and I said to myself, I want what it'll feel like to make $1,000 an hour. I said,
Mm-hmm.
who would I have to be to make $1,000 an hour, right? And at the time, I think I hadn't worked for more than $25 an hour, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And it was going through my mind.
Which is good money.
Yes, yeah, nothing to sneeze about.
Yes.
Okay, nothing to sneeze about. But I was looking forward. I was looking to the future and thinking about it. And then,
Uh-huh.
God brought me back and he said, but you have done this before. But I couldn't point my finger at it. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, there's just no way. And, he took me down a memory lane. I was just laying on the couch and I was like, what? Where do I never noticed? That's because I wasn't tracking. Remember, like, tracking? I wasn't tracking.
Mm-hmm.
It happens like that. But if you're not tracking, you haven't noticed. And so if you don't notice, you don't know the pattern and you don't know the pitfalls. Didn't know what got you there. So you can't replicate. You can't do it again. That's what I mean, right? You can't do it again. You can't build a system around it, because when we see somebody have something,
wait a minute. Wait a minute. I turned on my phone because I want to share this out.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
You see, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me just read my 3 sentences and go with that, because I get excited on this topic of how you can project, work through it, and get yourself there and surprise you, no matter how you reach it. When you get there and beyond, because you always get there and just a little beyond, and you are excited. You're supposed to be celebrating yourself, and it's almost like you will, but it's disbelief that I got there. Okay, so number one we're going to look at is, say it's the same thing I said. I'd like to make $1,000 per hour or per project, right? Then the things that surround it, I'm going to talk about a little bit. And number two, we're going to talk about going to work on your statement and don't back down. Because once you make this bold statement, everything is going to come at you to show you and represent to you that this is not possible. It is called the test. I call it a test. That's all it is. If you look at it as a test, you will understand that you would study for it and you'll pass the test. Don't freak out. Once you know it's a test, you know that there's work to be done. You study and you pass. And if you study and you didn't pass with the mark you want, which is your result that you were looking for, then you will restudy and you'll find different ways of taking the test. All right. And number 3, we're going to talk about setting goals to accomplish your bold financial statement and get to work doing it. When I first went to college, because when I was younger, I went to college at 29. So when I was younger, things came like that. It was so much faster in school. So when I had my first exam, I didn't really study much. I'm like, I know this work. And I got there and I failed miserably. Now, I didn't fail the class, hear me, but I failed Karen because I'm an A student. And I was walking away with a C+. And the professor couldn't understand. She says, what is the big deal? It's the first, it's a C+. I said, no, but I'm setting the pace. You see, my mind is going to be comfortable. If I feel comfortable that a C+ is great, I'm used to A's and A+. That's the land I work in. So I can't be okay with it. I got to find out where's my loophole. She said, come see me at 2:30. And I went and I saw her. And she said, you can't be this hard on yourself. Here's the places you fall down. Here's the things you can do better. And my head was like, is there a retest? And she was like, girl, I can't believe you. Okay, here's what we're going to do. You're going to pair you up with somebody who's done this before, because you obviously haven't been at this for a while. And as we kept talking, she's, the person she paired me up with, for that whole 2 weeks, the lady started telling me, she says, Karen, I went to college before. I got my degree. So I'm looking like I'm swarming in here like I know everything, because I've been down this road, not in this specific area, but I've been down this road. So I understand how you have to study and how you have to rest and all the things that's involved. You're new, so it feels like if you're now winning, but trust me, you're doing great. Now, here's what you need to do. Here's how this needs to look like. Here's how you need to set it up. And I wasn't ashamed. I sat with the lady and let her walk me through, and then I got myself a tutor, and I
Mm-hmm.
go to every day, and I get myself on track. Because you do what you got to do, because it makes you feel and it builds your confidence, then you can decide on the things you want to do. Don't play around with these things. These are important things. So number one, let's say you made a bold statement. I want to be paid $1,000 an hour or per project.
Okay.
Big questions are, and they're very simple, but they're big. Who am I? I love this question because it really, really pulls on you. It gets you upset, get you frustrated, get you irritated, but it brings out things from you because you're asking it of yourself, and you gotta ask it. And then you have to ask, who would you be if you were to make that kind of money on a project? Now, to some people, that is nothing. But to some other people, that's like such a big stretch. They can't even think of it, because if you start counting, that's $8,000 a day. That's it. They work 5 days a week. That's it. That's $40,000 a week. And some people make that all year long, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when you start thinking in those terms, you start depleting what you started, because you're thinking about people that you don't know that made $40,000 a year. You start thinking about yourself, maybe, or somebody maybe. And so those areas is taking and sucking your energy, so you can't focus anymore on you actually making it out. So if those things happen and you feel you're being pulled, go in the direction, explore it, but then come back to how
Mm-hmm.
you are going to make whatever number you choose. And if you choose a small number, let's say you said $100 an hour, that's okay. Multiplied by 4, so you can get 400. I don't want you to feel stagnant. I want you to be stretching outside of your comfort zone. So by the same token, if $1,000 is nothing to you, then you can multiply that by 4, and you can push your mind. That's what you're really doing. You're asking your mind to expand and accept this impossible number that you are not sure how you're going to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay, because you're going to go to work figuring it out. You're going to go to work testing the waters. You're going to write down all the things you know is true about you, and all the ways you make money, not scattered every which way, in the same project, the same service, the same whatever you do to make the bold statement that you made happen. I don't want you to run off. I don't want you to go anywhere. I want you to stick with that. And I want you to
Okay.
write it down. And in whatever we do as a service or a product, we've got so many skills built into that thing, whatever that thing is. We have skills built into it. And what I love doing, and I talk about it, I think the same one here too, where I set my budget, and in the budget, there's a little cell there, because I have it in Excel. There's a little couple of cells in there that talks about all the things I can do to make X amount of dollars per month. And then I look at the energy drainers, and I look at the small to the largest amount. And the ones that makes no sense, I eventually get rid of it. I don't even spend time investing any money or talking to people. What I do is go through it and look at the time it will take me. I look at the energy I have to focus into this specific thing to get there, and I'll give myself that time span. And this is just mentally. This is I don't go there physically. And then once I go through it and I tear it apart, I move it out of the budget plan. It goes away because it don't make any sense. And I have to do it, because if I don't do it, I will steady go back to it thinking, well, maybe if I made an extra $400 here, it will add up. Maybe if I made an extra $600 here, it add up to the $1,000. But what it will do, it would add up. But it wouldn't be a consistent, continuous thing, because it'll drain too much energy.
Mm.
So I wanted to stick to the most permanent ones. So here's the other thing. And we're going to stay with the $1,000, right? To make that $1,000, let's say the other thing that I'm working on wouldn't give it to me right away. Am I willing to wait for 3 to 6 months to be in that bracket? Or do I want the immediate fix of the $400 to $600, which will drain me? So by the time the 3 and 6 month hit, I am so tired that I stopped making $1,000 that I supposedly could have made from those little pittance, because I've understood now that I honestly did not need to do that. Now, here,
Mm.
I'm not telling somebody to stop their side gig. I'm not telling you don't do your things. That's filling up so that you're filled up so that your budget is allowing you to let your expense be lower than your earnings. The earnings are up here, your expense are down here. If it started to close the gap, you want to pay attention so you can widen the gap again. You don't want that gap to start sinking its way, because the minute the gap do this, then expense take over and you don't even understand what start happening. And this is how we get into debt. This is how we're out of reach of what's going on, because this is happening ahead. And we can't work towards this bold statement by backtracking. We can't back.
Mm. Okay. Things that make you go, mm.
Now, let's go to work on the bold statement. I want you to write it everywhere. I want to write it in your brain. Yeah, we're not putting it on your forehead, but write it there. Have it in the mind and write it everywhere. If you're a person that have people in the home and it's hard for you to people to see what you're doing, then put it where your eyes alone can see. You're at your laptop, put it under the laptop so you could raise up every now and then and have a look at it. Keep it in your bag, keep it in your purse, keep it wherever you can constantly see it, continuously see it, because it will remind you when you decide to do something that will not take you in the direction of your bold statement, that it's not for you. It doesn't fit with what you set out to do. It's taken away. If it's not given to you, it's taken away from you.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be really careful and honest with yourself. I remember when I had 3 jobs at one time, and I sat them and started calculating some things. And I said to the lady with she was the second job. I said to her, I said, it no longer financially support my dream. She goes, what are you talking about? I said, I got to give it up. She cried up and she said, but Karen, I said, no. She says, what about if we work out a deal? I could try to see if I could squeeze some more money in. I said, nope, wouldn't work. Wouldn't work. I was dread. I was tired, and it was taken away from my educational time.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it was a contribution to the money pile, when I sit down and calculate it, it wasn't that much of a big contribution. It only appeared that way.
Because you have to remember, you're paying to go to work. You got to eat while you're there. You're not cooking at home because you're too busy. You got 3 jobs. And, cooking at home is a savings. Packing your lunch is a savings. And before you know it, you're going to work and you're making $4.35 after taxes and transportation and food and eating out. So
Thank you.
I could see where, having multiple jobs can drain the budget more than help the budget, even though in our finite mind, we feel like it's going to help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The other thing is you can't hear your inner thoughts. You can't hear.
You can't. You're too busy. You're too busy. You can't settle down to hear and do anything. Once I was able to give that up, Terry, the clearance was, I knew I had to do it. The clearance started happening. And I got to my second job and I said to the guy, and that job was just 2 days, or 1 day. And I said to him, he says, Karen, you're allowed to work 1 day or 2 days, up to you. And honestly, if you're looking for 2 extra hours, you could have just asked me. So I could be at the same place, get 2 extra hours, made more money.
All because you didn't ask.
Because
wow.
I didn't know. Yeah. Terry said to me, he says, I know we're happy for 5, but you can come in around 2 if you like. And I was like, I could do that. Thank you, Terry.
Which was like a raise now, because you didn't have to pay the extra transportation. You didn't have to pay lunch. You got your time back. Oh my gosh.
And this was a place where they actually fed you. You didn't have to bring your lunch.
And I don't think when we're looking at, income makers that we call jobs, uh, we don't map it out. We don't map out how much is it going to cost me to run my car or to catch public transportation for an extra job.
Yes.
We don't add that part on. You know what I mean?
Yes, we don't.
The check.
Yes. We look at the check and we look at the gross check too, whatever the offer letter, that you have. I was at Fabricland the other day, and a client of mine, a previous client of mine, we just did a few coaching sessions, but that girl was like a snippet. She came, she booked her time, and she says, Karen, I'm sending my mom. She came, and then she sent her mom. She says, the last time I saw her, she says, I'm a supervisor, the job she was looking after, because she's also a designer. And I said to her, I said, how is your business going? She says, I tell you, you told me, you saw me, wrote it down in the book, and I'm following the plan, Karen. I haven't deviated. I am following the plan. Because she had a job that paid, let's say roughly about $16 an hour, but she got offered a job that paid less, but closer to home. She can walk there. The job at $16 an hour, she needed 2.5 hours to get there. The job that paid less was walking distance. And we sat down. She came for the session, and she sat down. And I thought she was just, because she was moving after we finished talking. I said, are you okay? She says, I could have done this 5 years ago. You're trying to tell me? I couldn't get my business off the ground because of all the traveling I did. Are you saying to me that if I didn't go work that far, I could have had my design business already? She said, I'm just in shock. Look, I'm thanking you, but I can't get up because I feel like my legs wouldn't move. Because this was an in-person coaching session, you understand? And, because I worked it on the paper, and she talked quickly, and I handed it over to her. And she says, I still have the piece of paper. She's the manager of the job there. And she said to me the other day, she said, I still got my paper in my purse. When I'm tempted, I pull out my paper.
It makes sense. When you track the numbers, it really does look different to you in terms of making a decision about what you're going to do.
Yes.
Because
we worked out.
Celia's here. Celia says, good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Cecilia. Because the $16 an hour job worked out to 11 something when we calculate everything. And the job she was offered close by was paying 13 to train, and then 14.25 or something. She was winning. She was winning. But no transportation. And then I said to her, and I want you to take the transportation money you would have paid and put it aside. And I wanted her to do that because she does events, and she does wedding dresses. So she does events. And I wanted her to start having a business supply of money so that when she rent a booth, she had the money saved up already. She can get her fabric together. She can start designing, because these events really score her. That's how she makes her, a couple wedding dresses per year. And that's what was sustaining her. And because she makes, when she does it, she does the wedding dresses, the bridesmaid dresses, the flower, she does the whole package. She does packages. And so that takes her, she comes home and get that done. And I said, this is your profession. You want to keep doing it, but you want to also, she needed to work in this place. She needed to work in a place where fabric is. So it keeps her in that mood. The other thing is the other job was taken away from her passion.
From her environment, where she could see everything new coming in. What's the new color this year? What's the basic fabric for what I do? Are we going to, she could even influence the supply chain by talking to the manager and saying, I think we ought to order this because I'm going to be working with this year, and most designers. So it was taking her out of her sphere of influence, out of her passion.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And she's like.
And conversations at that job, she could get into conversations with people who could elevate her and bring in business. Even someone's coming in there to buy fabric for a wedding dress, they don't know what they're doing. It's like, you know what? I do this for a living. I suggest this, and this.
Yeah.
Now, you do this for a living? Girl, give me your card.
She is living her best life. I mean, anytime I see her, I see the glow on her because she's doing what she want to do. She's doing what she's passionate about. She's doing what she loves. She's in it, it's taken away. So you make those bold statements. And I said to her, some part of you wanted this. And so because you wanted, God had guided you to me. This is somebody who was passing my home. She was passing me by. I do alteration and repair. And she just popped in for one thing. We got to be clients for about a year and she decided to tell me what she does. And I said to her, I coach people on understanding their money and how to make it work. She says, okay, I'm booking a session. I'll be there. Sometimes I get clients the weirdest ways. But they usually end up being lifelong people and they usually send me people, right? Because she didn't know, her mom didn't know. So once we were done, I got her mom as a client also, to just get their head around. Because if you're only thinking that, especially if you're a coach, if I'm talking to other coaches, if you listen to this and you're a coach, don't just figure out or think about who's in front of you and what's online. People come to you in all different ways because even if you meet somebody in person, you can still continue your sessions online with them or through a telephone because it might start, especially the pandemic right now, right? There's not a lot of people coming and going to any places. So you might meet them in person. You might end up in a conversation with them for whatever reason, but just let them know. You don't have to be aggressive. Just let them know what you do. And you just have to tell them and have the conversation. Once they see that you know what you're talking about, they'll book a session with you. You're great at what you do, they'll work with you. Or they'll find a way to work with you, even if they can't do it now. I had a person come to me once and it took her a full year to come back to work with me. I appreciated her because she says, Karen, I want to work with you. I can't do it right now, but I'm going to plan to do it because the stuff you give me, if I put in the time, I know I'm going to be able to. And I tell you, smack that, in a year, she was back. We coached for 6 months, So if you're in this field or any kind of service base, and you're looking at potentials, never dismiss. This is a sales thing getting right here, right now. Never dismiss what's in front of you. Don't know where it's going to take you. Okay, and it's just part of us marketing and doing our business. It don't always have to be we do put copy, we run an ad. It could just be a human being talking to another human being. Because remember, that's how it used to be. That's how I did business before anything. I never called it sales or marketing. I meet you, I chat with you, we talk about what each of us do. And if I like your service or I'm in need of it, I buy and vice versa. All right. Whew. I mean, that's really awesome. Yeah. So set goals. Number 3, set goals to accomplish your bold financial statement and get to work doing it. Do not wait. When you make this statement, I want to make $1,000 per project or per hour, and you got the statement around, you're saying it, you're in it. What's the first thing you do? The first thing you did was write it down. Whatever that number that was, the first thing you did was write it down. Then you surround yourself with the reminder of it. Then you get into your budget. For Terry, it's her happy place. And you write down all the things within what you do. Do not go out of that. You're right. With what you do and how you can use things within what you do to accomplish this. Now, there's a ton of ideas that's going to come. You're not going to use all of them, but write them down. The permanent ones that you think you can use, maybe 5 or 6 of them, add them to your budget. Put them there. And then I want you to spend time going through them to see if they're energy suckers or they really truly can contribute to your bold statement. The ones that can't, remove them. The ones that you see that you can, use them. And you do it over and over again. I promise you, you will get there. I promise you, you will get there. And I tell this story before. When I first started watching my books, even though I take an accounting, I wasn't running my business the way it should. I'm not going to lie to you. I make money, I spend money, I save money, I invest money. But I wasn't keeping the books so that I can see it going in and coming out. And because I wanted to do a big project, I needed a loan. So I went around and I asked, can I borrow $1,000 here? People I knew. Can I borrow $1,000? Nobody had it to lend me there. Friday, Tuesday, I needed this money in 2 days. And I sat myself down and I said, Karen, if you need $1,000, how are you going to do this? And I started writing down how I'll make $1,000. The truth was, I was making way more than $1,000, but I wasn't keeping track. So I didn't notice. Within those 3 days, not only did I raise $1,000, I raised $2,000. The product I was doing and things I had around the home, I sold. I made the $2,000 because my gut always tells me if I can invest something for $1,000, why not invest two? Because I was investing in me and I know my market and what I was doing. And I multiplied that 2,000 into $10,000 within 2 weeks because I paid attention to my number. I know my market. I know what I needed to. So I was able to get there without taking out a loan. Now, you might not be in the kind of market I was in, and that was food. I could just tell you what it was. It was part food and part wholesaling. I did wholesale and selling that. And I could have made more money because if I wanted retail. But again, remember, talk about time and energy in the sucker. I knew if I waited retail, yes, I'd probably make 20 grand. But what time span would that be in? So me doing it in a shorter time span made way more sense to make half of the money because I can turn around and do it again and again. Not only that, I wasn't working alone. I had other people I'm paying too. It made way more sense for me to have two salespeople on my track. Keep doubling the money. Keep doubling the money. Yeah. So whatever you're in, whatever you're doing, pay attention to your numbers. This is so important. When you run a business, you have to ask yourself, is it for profit? Are you running a business for profit? So you got to ask yourself this question. And it seems silly because, well, Karen, why would I have a business if it's not for profit? Well, people run businesses that is not profitable.
Yes. And we're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run. And so if you're not making money, you're probably not into it anymore. Maybe it's time for a transition.
Yeah. And that happens. You get sick of doing something and you want to leave, even if it was your passion a long time ago, maybe it isn't anymore, or it's more tiring, or the specific thing that you're doing. Here's the other thing. If you got a passion that you really, really love, and you're like, kind of still love it, but I don't love this, then look at the parts that you don't love anymore and source that out. Bring people in, because we get tired as human beings doing the things we love doing over time. You get resources in. You start hiring people. I know people like do their things. Listen, I like things done my way, but I'm really great at understanding what God wants for us. Okay, God, I tell you, He knows how to get things going, get people doing things. If I'm going to partner with Him, I want to follow His pattern. I want to hire somebody. I want to bring people in the pool. I want to bring people in, contractors, hire whatever. I hired my sister. She was my first hiree. And I had no money to pay her. I said to her, listen, if you sell this, you can get that. You can do that. Then I hired my niece-in-law, my husband's niece. And she was cool. And then I hired another sister. She didn't work out. I let her go. And then I hired my sister friends. Those days I was like a teenager. I had a staff of 6 people at one point.
And didn't even realize it, right? Because it was all done by bartering. Yeah.
So you do what you need to do. Don't feel like you can't. I always say learn it well yourself, because when people come on board, it didn't matter what they know, they still expect you to tell them what to do.
Yes, they do.
So if you didn't understand your steps, you can't tell them what to do. So now they're confused, and they're not leaving because you can't pay them. They're leaving because they don't think they're doing a good enough job because you haven't trained them well. Money is not the only thing that keeps people.
No, it's not.
Gotta be careful that people know you're treating them well and you're training them well, and they're feeling like they're on top of the world. They will work for you like a long time. I got people work for me. I was saying 13 years, and she ran me 15 years. This year it's gonna be 16 years she's working for me. This is how long you can keep an employee, when you see you treat people well and you put them and you train them and you keep them in charge of things. You want them to feel not because they work for you, they still is a person. So, let me not go over right time. Today we talk about.
That's okay. Did we get everything in? We got the 3 steps. Okay,
We got
let
it. We got
me
it.
see if I can
You.
if I can summarize this, because I like acronyms. So what I came up with was sit, say something bold, identify where you can make money to reach that daily goal or whatever that goal is. Find the little places, get rid of the places where things are seeping out, identify the leaks, and identify the things that will bring in the money.
Yep.
And then track your money.
Big.
So we're talking about sit. And the reason why sit came to my mind was because my grandmother used to say to me all the time, girl, get somewhere and sit down. I still had energy, she's like, you just need to get somewhere and sit down. And I never understood it till I got to be, this age. What she was really talking about, what she should have said was sit somewhere, get somewhere and sit down and get with God and find out what he really has for you to do.
But they never would explain things to you. They would just say things. I used to say that to my mom and my grandma. I'm like, just explain it. I'm a child who need explanation. But they wouldn't. They would just give me. I got older and then I learned what a lot of things meant.
And maybe they didn't know. Maybe they didn't know. They just knew there was wisdom in getting still.
They weren't lying.
Oh my gosh. So is that essentially what we were talking about?
That's essentially what we're saying. Terry, I love that wrap-up, girl. You
need to get with me when you put these trainings together, because as a trainer, I like stuff where I can.
I love that wrap-up. That was brilliant.
Oh, good. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm going to let you close, because you may want to add something to that, but that's what I got from taking my notes from what you said today.
I love that. Terry put it together well. All this month we talk about money in different forms of it. That's what really this month was about. And I hope I give you something to ponder, to take action with, to go forth and do. We're the last quarter. We got 3 more months in the year. It's not too late to get things together. To get a budget set for 2021, a full year of budgeting. That'd be so wonderful. Your heart would be at peace so you can focus in on all the other things you want to do. All right. And if you have something coming out this year for sale, don't hold back, put it for sale. If 10 people buy, 10 people buy. At least you've started the chain, moving things along. I hope you're really thinking about that. And you guys going to see what we bring in for October. Where am I going? October, we're going to be talking about money again, because we're business women and that's what we talk about. We talk about all the different things that happen in money. I really believe I look after people with emotions behind the money. I really do.
Cecilia says, I need to share this with my friend. She's not profiting from her business. Thank you. A lot of times, Cecilia, we don't think we're worthy of the money, and we just start giving away the product because we don't know how to ask for our money. That's why she needs to tune in and listen to Coach Karen. And if you go look at some of the replays, Coach Karen talks about these sneaky things that keep us from making a profit in our business. Mm-hmm. Because they're mind games.
So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So there you go. She says Cecilia's on board. We need to really get our mind on our money and our money on our mind, and be okay with the fact that this is how we pay our bills. And even if your bills are paid, that's the other thing. If you have income coming in and you start a business, you tend to not take it seriously because your bills are still being paid. But the truth is, if that business is profitable, now you have something to bless others with. Yes. To fund projects, to buy laptops for kids who can't afford it, to feed the hungry, whatever it is that your heart is telling you to do.
Exactly.
to fund that.
Yes.
So we all need overflow.
Yes.
And don't be ashamed to overflow, because that's what's going to glorify the maker.
Yes. Well,
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it. That's all we have for today.
Okay.
That's all we have for today.
I want to remind you guys to get somewhere and sit down. And if you're looking for Coach Karen online, she is over at Profits.
Yeah, I'm in Profits in Daily for Entrepreneurs. That's my Facebook group and free membership, where we are talking this actually for the next 3 months about discovering yourself.
I don't know. Sometimes when you're, moving your mouse around, I guess I just kicked myself out of the studio. I don't know how that happened, but I had to come back in. I know Karen's like, what? Where'd she go?
I just started talking. I fell right in.
Good. She's at Profits in Daily over there on Facebook and YouTube. You can find Coach Karen Fern at Profits in Daily. So, and that's Karen with a C. And Fern like the plant. So remember that she's available and you can book an appointment with her. Also, you want to tell us about your group, Karen?
Yes, I was just saying when you got popped out.
I'm sorry.
It's Profit in Daily for Entrepreneurs. And right now we're doing a free membership, and it's called, it's just discovering you, finding out things about yourself. So you can really get to the core of you and all that you want to do. Whether people understand it or not, the way your business really rolls is when you understand who you are and be true to yourself and how you function. Not how I function or Terry function, just how you function, because that'll draw all the people you need to.
So Cecilia, this may be the answer for your friend. So I would go over there and join the group. I think on one of our other replays, we actually had the link. So we'll have the link for you after the show. We'll put it in the chat.
And then if you go to my business page, I have the link there. My business page also is the place people can sign up if they want to.
We're talking Facebook business page.
Yeah, they can go there.
I just wanted them to know which platform, because we're on a lot of platforms.
Oh,
okay. So
I keep forgetting that.
Yes.
On Facebook business page, if you click on there, they said click here, the sign up button. You can sign up for a free 30 minutes. But where it says groups, you can also click there and join the group. So it's I wanted to make it easy for people to click, whether we have it here or not. Just easy to go in and click. Hi, Maureen. Thanks for popping in and joining us. Thank you for the replay viewers that are going to see us later when we're not here also.
Yes, we want to give a shout out to them because we're getting ready to sign off, but we just want you to know that this was good. You need to go watch the replay. And with that, I want to remind everybody that if you're looking to join Biz Chicks, you can text Biz to 33777. And we're excited to have you become a part of our community. We'd love for you to join us on this journey to a profitable business that's fun to run. With that, remember to go to the
front of your own line.
Yeah. We'll see you tomorrow for Happy, Healthy Habit with Robin Shimizu and friends. Same time. Bye-bye.